Hello, guys. We are live today for Carnivore Team GB live Q&A session number 33. So we've been doing this for well over half a year now, guys. We've had a total of 6 super chats, meaning we've gained revenue, guys. So for all these hours we put in, we're not greedy people. We give our time. We help people out for free. We've made honestly about £90 between us, 4, 5, 6, and whoever's come on over the period of 30 or so weeks. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that, guys. If anyone does want to leave a super chat, even if it's £1, it's a way of saying thank you. We do appreciate it. And it's not begging. Every other channel asks for super chats. Every other channel asks for memberships. Every other channel asks you to buy their stuff. So we're asking for £1 here. £1 would be really nice, guys. Anyway, so today we're going to be answering your questions. Please leave a queue before the question that you do have on any of our channels. You'll find our usernames, our channel tags, names, whatever you want to call it, just on the screen right now. So you got me at Carnivore Muscle, Phil Escott is Phil Escott, Lee Coppus is at Kent Carnivore, and Coach Stephen is, I believe, just Coach Stephen Thomas, I think.
Well, it's Coach Stephen or the UK Carnivore.
What comes up as your channel handle?
You can do Coach Stephen, yeah, just on its own. No Thomas.
Yeah. Oh, okay, there we go. Brilliant. So all of our links are on the screen right now, as you can see them. So please do not tell me that I've not linked who's on the screen. I get tired of saying the same thing over and over again through the comment sections. It does wear on you guys. So yeah, I just thought I'd chat to you guys and see what's new in the world of Phil, Lee, and Stephen. If anything is coming up at the moment, which is imperative. Maybe Stephen, you'd like to talk about your live and what might happen on the Carnivore-a-thon.
Well, that's really nice of you, Jonathan, and it's really great to have you back. You are definitely the best ringmaster out of all of us. I've just done a live with Dr. Ken Berry talking about his American Diabetes Society. So there is a GoFundMe on that video. That's on my channel, but obviously don't flick off now because we want you here. But yes, the 24-hour live stream I'm co-hosting with Richard Smith, dearly beloved Richard Smith, the UK's top nutritionist, as seen on TV. I'm going to be standing here for 24 hours. He's going to be sitting where he does for 24 hours, and we're going to have these fabulous guests. Oddly, on the screen right now is our 8:30 in the morning guest Lee, and we've got our 9 o'clock guest Jonathan, and we've got our 10 o'clock guest Phil, and then we got Ben, then we got the big hitters coming along like Dr. Kiltz and Chafee and all that lot, and Sabrina Salt and Sarah Zaldivar and Dr. Philip Avadia. You know, we've got them all.
Sorry, you said Zaldivar was a bigger hit than me.
No, I was joking, Jonathan.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure if you're serious.
No. Everybody
Phil and Lee are bigger hits than him.
But yes, we've got tons of guests, a lot of banter, as you can tell. And Ken Berry will be popping in. I think he might pop in the 2 hours that Dr. Chafee's doing. But the idea is actually to give, the guests half an hour, 45 minutes to talk about their stuff. It's not to push Richard, it's not to push me, it's to push Carnivore and to try and actually get more people interested in it. So people that watch Jonathan's channel might never have seen Phil, or they might never have seen Lee. And, we put the bigger names on because it just gets more people. And last year, what I did is I tried to sort of have a bigger name and a littler name, if you know what I mean. I've only got a certain amount of followers. I think then I had 4,000 followers or something when I did it. So the idea is to just get Carnivore out and different voices as well, because I think that's what's missing. We need to, tick all the boxes rather than just have one person talking and they have their one perspective. So I've got people like Craig Emmerich talking about protein sparing modified fasting. The whole range of, high protein, high fat, those people that do certain things, people like Phil that's really into sort of not being disconnected from the earth. Lee's brilliant story about, his recovery and what Carnivore did. Jonathan, you top of the tree this year with the bodybuilding. So it's good to have all these different things. That's it. So that's on the 7th of July. and it starts at 8 a.m. in the morning UK time, and hopefully we'll get a lot of people watching and commenting and asking questions, and Richard will be there as well. So if you're missing Richard, well, by the end of 24 hours of him, you'll be like, well, I'll never miss that guy again. So it's good. And we've got Jake Thomas, we got some names that are good in the endurance side of things. That's everything actually. Endurance sport is not often talked about in this space, and people worry you've got to have carbohydrates to have endurance. But we always had, last year we had Sean Sacco, who's like a fantastic endurance cyclist. So yeah, it should tick a lot of boxes for people that have got questions. We've also got some success stories. Got Karen Miles, who's pretty well known. She's not really a big influencer, but she's she's out there on Instagram spreading the word. She's got a good story. So I think it's going to be fascinating. Last year I was scared. I've got to be honest. Last year I was really like, will any of these people that said they're going to turn up actually turn up? Judy Cho, Kevin Stock, didn't know me from Adam. So I can see on the playback, I'm constantly like, oh, the next hour, will Kilts turn up? Will he really be here? I couldn't, I was pinching myself that everybody turned up, and it was brilliant. So this year I might be a bit more relaxed, and I might actually be listening. Sean Baker, the story for me, the most cringing thing was I wasn't sure I'd get Sean Baker on. He said he would. He is a man of his word. I now realise that, and I'd worked with him for 5 years, but I still, is he really going to be able to have the time to do this? And he came on, and the first thing he said, I completely blanked and didn't answer him. So every time I watch a playback, I cringe at how bad it was when he first comes on. So this year I'm going to be more present, more in the moment, less worried about the stuff. So it should be good. And Sean is on again.
At least you didn't go on his channel and constantly talk about poo like I did, so I get to cringe about that as well.
Yeah, me too. I did that.
When you're booked, Phil, that's what people want.
There you go. Yeah, well, we've got some news. That Spanish conference that we've got in October with Anthony Chafee and Sophia Clements and Natasha Campbell McBride and whatever, that's almost sold out. So if anybody wants to go and get that, go to thebigfatchallenge.com and you'll see a link at the top. But there's 2 rooms left, so go fight for them. I can't believe we sold that out. It's over $2,000 a ticket. And we're having much more difficulty selling out a really cool one that we've got near to us in Rainford, which is northwest England, Merseyside, Lancashire. And but that's going to be cool. We haven't really done the publicity. I'm going to put the link up to that in the chat here, because get along to that. As we get more stuff in, we're going to get more speakers. We got Richard in anyway. Probably get Stephen in. Somebody always was expecting him the other day. I'd love to get everybody in. It depends on how much we can get in. But we've got Nikita Stark talking on natural birth, natural childbirth. She's amazing. She's hilarious. She's naughty. She's really cool. But some of the stories she'll talk about are absolutely shocking. Ben Hunt will be talking there. Got Dr. Sarah Pugh up for the weekend. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. Darren Nesbitt as well will be talking, runs the Light Paper and my band. So we've got some woo-woo, we've got some carnivore, we've got some tinfoil hattery, we got something for everybody. And so we'll be playing there with the band as well, with the Daz band that I play drums with. And there'll be butchery demos, some great organic meat to cook on the fire pits and hang out around the fire pits at night, camping, music, DJs, everything. We're combining everything. It's going to be fun, and it's not expensive. So hurry up and sign up for that and come up, for God's sake, because it's going to be a lot of fun. And the more people that we sell, the more tickets we sell, the more speakers we can get in. And I'll put the link up right now in the chat. It is, if anyone's listening anyway and can't read, it's but that won't be any good because then they can't type. But it's ancestralhealthfestival.com. We finally got an actual landing page. But it's going to be a lot of fun. There'll be natural movement stuff, some energy healing, blacksmith demo, all kinds of stuff. Be very cool. Lots of music as well. Anyway, I'll shut up about that. That's my news. But I'll put it in the chat now and let somebody else have a go.
And if you do invite me, I would definitely love to speak there, especially as
Oh,
people seem to
okay.
be speaking there anyway.
Well, all right then. For goodness' sake, let's fine. Okay, let's get Stephen along. Just let's make sure we're going to have to get a bio and pick and add him to the landing page. But imagine he's there. There he is. And also, if you go on that landing page that I'm about to put up in the chat, if you go on that landing page, there's also I've got all the speakers, including Stephen, actually, when he goes up there, on my Red Pill Buddhas podcast. So you can get to know them all better and whet your appetite to come and meet these amazing people. And there we go. Here it goes in the chat.
Am I supposed to say something? I've
Oh,
got
do you
Yeah,
know-
I always finish up when I call round.
I've got very little news, to be honest with you. The sun's out. I'm a few subscribers away from 50,000. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, pop over there and
well
get
done.
to 50,000. That's about it, really.
Nice one. All that's really happened for me is I've had the largest growth of my YouTube channel since I started, which is quite good. I'm not far off 10,000 subscribers now. I didn't think I'd ever get 1,000, much like Coach Steve and his story. It's like, oh, when I get 500, you know, when I get 5,000, they've just been pouring in consistently, organically through the right means, just through hard work. Phil, Lee, and Coach Stephen know how hard it is to build your channel. When, well, like me, you're not very well. You're much more charismatic than me, guys, but I'm a little bit hard to follow at times, but people still seem to subscribe to what I say. I don't know whether that's just the novelty of subscribing to a carnivore bodybuilder or it's the information I put out, but I really do hope it's the information I put out because I do work very, very hard to make concise, simple, practical, informative videos. I've currently got quite a few in the works right now. I've been scripting for the last few weeks. I've currently got about 45 to 50 videos that I need to make. I've got an interview coming out with Pim Johnson, an interview coming out with Joff, who's my friend from Australia. He interviewed me to talk about my carnivore bodybuilding journey, if it were. Other things in the news, I've got a video coming out on mental health and the benefits of carnivore bodybuilding. So there's some hidden gems in those videos, which I think you'll find useful. Other than that, my business has also shown the most amount of growth since, most amount of website traffic since I can remember. I started off with a £250 laptop with money from my nan for my birthday about 2 years ago. Now I'm earning 95% profit in everything I do. But unfortunately, you know, life doesn't pay for itself. I spend most of my money on being in less pain, and I'm always in pain, guys. And I do bitch about it a lot, but the thing is, people do not understand, and they seem to think that I can do all these things. And oh, why don't you just spend longer at the computer and write all the timestamps for me and answer all my questions and comment everything and spend 10 minutes responding to every single email? The answer is no, guys. I'm limited in what I can do. I am disabled. Please respect that. I'm mentioning this on this live stream like I do on many of them because people do not get the message. And I still get negative commentary and very rude and very disrespectful emails every single morning that I wake up. It's getting old, guys. It's getting old. No, I feel like I'm telling everyone off, but that's the truth. That's the life I live. And I'm just grateful for every Tuesday evening. I get to speak to these guys, chat to them about nutrition stuff, learn a few things, share, collaborate, give each other's some new information and just mutually benefit. And it's been very helpful since. And I met lots of other people that these guys are friends with, some of their clients. You know, we've all sort of cross-pollinated and contaminated each other's social circles. So it's been a great experience overall. But I just wanted to bring it up.
Mate, Jonathan, I've got to say, absolutely congratulations, because, you know, with what you're facing and the stuff that you go through to have succeeded in what you've done, not only online, but that bodybuilding thing, just well done, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Lots of respect. Cool.
Cheers for that. Yeah, if you guys wanted to talk to me about it at some point, we can, you know, do a live interview talk about it or something on StreamYard. I mean, I'd be happy to do that. I've done it for a few people already. But yeah, there's my angle with Carnivore Muscle, the channel, isn't so much to get everyone to do bodybuilding. It's just to get them in a position where they have better well-being than they did before. And for some people, it means they look in the mirror each morning and they hate what they see. Imagine them with a slightly more aesthetic silhouette. Well, that's going to go a long way in terms of how they feel and self-confidence. So as much as it's all like, body, build an inch in your arms, lose an inch in your waist, this sort of thing. More of it is about how you feel in yourself, which is important. We all have different standards, different goals for ourselves. But I just think if you don't keep persisting and don't keep trying to achieve something better than what you currently already have, you're probably not a human being. And I'm not saying cavemen and these Neanderthal people were running around worrying about how big the biceps were and how good their calves looked from the rear. I don't think they give a damn. But nowadays, the society has changed. Our human nature has changed. Therefore, it's important for people like me, Phil, Stephen, Lee, to come together to talk about how we're maintaining good physiques. Because if you look at every one of us, we're all lean, have a respectable amount of muscle, relative to our body size. When I say that, I mean we're not malnourished. We're not dealing with osteopenia sort of thing or anything like that. So that's just what I think towards it. But I appreciate you saying that, Phil. We've had no questions in the chat yet.
Can I echo what Phil just said? Actually, to both, both to Jonathan and Lee, because Lee, you've got to 50,000. Jonathan, I think, did you say 10,000? It is hard. It's really difficult, and it's very demoralizing, especially when you put a video out with your heart and soul is into it, and it's got a lot of really good information, and it's not information that other people are saying. I'm going to be very open about how I feel at the moment. I've never really said this publicly. And then you put the video out and it gets a pitiful response. And then you look on your own YouTube and you're looking at the content that's being put in front of you, and you see something that's got 100,000 views and you watch it and it's pitiful, and you just think, how has that happened? I mean, this information is okay. It's not saying anything new. And I'm not even talking about a particular influencer. I'm just talking in general. And it's demoralizing. It's very demoralizing when it's particularly wrong information. And it's certainly very, very demoralizing when it's someone you respect and they are saying something that makes no common sense and doesn't actually have any science behind it. They're just being derogatory about an aspect of health. I would love to mention the particular sort of videos I'm talking about, but I'm not going to. And it makes you want to give up sometimes, because you just think, wow, this is a slog. I mean, I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. I've got to 25,000 followers this week, but I can remember being at 2,000 followers and actually doing a video saying, when I get to 4,000, I'm going to do this little dance. I can remember that. I don't know, 18 months ago, something like that. And you think you cracked it. You get, like you said, Jonathan, you suddenly get a big influx and you think, oh, this is it, I'm golden. If you're not on it, if you're not putting out content, that slows down and it becomes quite stressful. There's some big influencers out there giving up on YouTube, 9 years doing it. And I'm not talking about in the health space either. I'm just talking about in general. There's a couple of really big influencers. I've had enough, guys. 9 years. I've had enough. 10 years. This is it. I can't do any more. The stress is too much. And if you're not doing this and you think, what stress is there from walking around, when I was thinking about, the scientist guy walking around, Duxford, looking at jet engines, talking about your passion. What's stressful about that? Well, I tell you what's stressful. You've got to be really interesting. You've got to be careful about copyright claims. You've got to be right. You've got to say the right thing. If you've got an opinion, you've got to be able to back it up. And then you've got to put up with hundreds, Jonathan alluded to it, hundreds of comments that are just clueless. And you've got to make the decision, am I just going to block them? Am I just going to be rude to them? Am I just going to ignore them? I like to engage in every comment. Every single comment I like to get back on, even if it's anti stuff. Well, that's time consuming. I mean, I would say an hour of my day is answering comments, and the majority of them are good, nice comments, but I still bother because I think it's good. But then you get the odd idiot that's got no clue, just this is everything you're saying, has no proof, and takes hope away from people. And that's the biggest thing I really hate. When I'm doing a success story video and they just write, what a load of BS. I'm like, right, okay, this person giving hope. This person has actually done what he said. He's not getting any money. I'm thinking of one particular video, which is the most popular one I've had, over 300,000 views. This guy's got nothing to earn from this. He's just trying to give people hope because he was told he had no hope. And you've just destroyed it. Right. At least give me 3 or 4 facts why you think that's BS. And they never do. But I always leave the comments so people can see that that's how I approach that sort of stuff. There are questions now, but sorry, I just waffled on too much. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, grossly, it is a thankless task. I know all four of us do reply to or do something with every message we get. Reason being, when it goes up on my phone in the morning and I happen to look at it, oh, you got a notification. Oh, no, sorry, it's 25 notifications, 45 emails, and 60 through social media. I've got to go through that. Since not responding to every email and every person asking for free consultations, I've saved myself 10 hours per week. That means 10 hours more rest I get per week. It is absolutely my prerogative to make good use of my time and my energy and little energy that I do have. People don't realize that. And these other guys, honestly, they spend so much time. Phil, I know he goes through every single comment, even the nasty ones, and he tries to sort of sway him in the right direction. You think he doesn't have to do that, but he's put his best foot forward. He's more patient than me, you know. And Coach Stephen will give someone a piece of advice, where to look, where to find things out, link a video, tag someone that might be relevant. Lee does the best effort he has, bearing in mind he's not a world expert by his own admission. He's someone that knows a lot because he's looked into a lot. He's a citizen scientist sort of thing, a citizen researcher. So we all work so hard. Yeah.
It's a funny thing with YouTube channels, isn't it? I mean, at the beginning of 2020, I think I had 10,000 subscribers. And I made the mistake of putting our Human Unleashed chats up on there, where we were absolutely calling out the, you know, let's not get this one pulled down, but the stuff that was happening at the beginning of 2020. We called it out immediately. And that was it. Could not get any more subscribers. People were recognizing us in the street. You know, even John Gusty, who was part of the Human Unleashed thing at the time, people were recognizing him in America from the stuff we were doing in the Human Unleashed. I know that there was tons of people watching it, but it didn't go up. People were telling me that they were being unsubscribed like 3 times in a row, and they don't see any of my videos and stuff. I mean, I have one video on my channel. I did a talk in 2017, I think, to some docs and health professionals on the carnivore diet. And I had my YouTube guy I had a guy doing my YouTube channel at the time, and he chopped it up into little segments. And he had one that I thought was really boring, that just said myths about meat or something. And another one saying carnivore diet, reversing breast cancer, shocking pic warning. I mean, clickbaity title, my mum's breast cancer disappearing on pictures. You can see it. And I thought that one's going to go viral. That's still only got about 3,000 views, and that boring one's got like 300,000. I remember even Ken Berry popping up on that one back in the day before his channel really came up, going great info on this, and it's there are too many algorithms there. That's why you can see under my name now I've gone to Substack really, and you get, you know, paid subscribers, and I do Q&As, and it's not censored. YouTube is a minefield. And I mean, I think Lee's done really well because he's crafted his videos really well to get that many subscribers in, you know, like that. He's a clever bugger there. But you're fighting against the algorithms. One time, I mean, I've had strikes, I've had all sorts, but one time I had, I used some of Moby's music. I thought that was funny because he's a vegan. And he had some free music, and I used it on one of my carnivore things. And one of his team spotted it and started making a noise about it. You know, you want to get that off there. But they couldn't do anything except demonetize it. But you're fighting against it. And Lee got a load of money trapped in there, you know? And it's YouTube is not really the platform, I don't think. I think there's other ones now. Just kind of don't worry about it.
I want to give Lee a special shout-out mention as well. I know Lee, you're about to say something, so I apologise for cutting in a bit, but it's the right time. Well, Lee gave me some advice a few months back when we did like a cross-pollination of videos. So we shared some videos, we just chatted about stuff. and he gave me some advice. We chatted for quite a long time, actually. Basically, it's about the start of the video, how to make it more engaging, more enticing. And I've since been adding that in more and more. And every time I do it, it's like, oh, you've got 2,000 views, or, you know, more than what I had before. I was typically trending about 400 to 500 views per video. Now I can get 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes, quite handily. And that's just turned over to a massive profit of about 50 quid extra per month for YouTube. So I appreciate that. The only downside is to do it, say you get the first minute right of a video, it will take about 2 to 3 hours to get perfect. That's the problem. So when you watch our videos, guys, especially, you know, Stephen's videos, where some of the stuff he talks about is very scientific for some people, but he delivers it in a nice, presentable way. The more edits he does, the more he has to put into it. And it will take hours upon hours upon hours. And the longest video that's ever taken me was 2 days. I believe it was about 14 hours. That video got about 400 views. A nice presentation, and you're like, wow, how did it? But the information, it was golden. If someone watched that video, they'd know 90 to 95% of all they need to know about the carnivore diet. And it wasn't a short video either, so you can imagine how long that took. But it's just lost in the weeds now. It's just lost. That video is completely lost.
They're against it, guys. I mean, everything. Look what they're doing in Australia. You know, chipping all the animals, and you've got to register your chickens, and if you don't register them, then you get like a $5,000 fine or 6 months in jail, and then they can muck about with pretending there's animal pandemics and come and kill them all. This is what they're doing. I'm sorry to put my tinfoil hat on again, but you know, if you're talking about carnivore now, they don't like it, these chaps. They don't want us eating this. They know it makes us strong. They know that it makes our brains work properly. And it's
so
not,
what we do,
it's not conspiracy
what we do, Phil,
theory. It's what's going on. Huh?
I know it's all good saying that, but the thing is, we have to be proactive about it. We have to be ahead of the curve. So we have to do things like Lee does. Invest your time doing things, like be a bit more crafty, title things in a certain way, you know. And I've taken so much of his advice, and I've looked at Coach Stephen's presentation skills. So I'm like, trying to put it all together. How do I make carnivore muscle, but with the best skill sets of these people? So I'm still trying to learn, still trying to get better. So hopefully in time we can all develop our channels. Like my point of starting this was so we could all experience mutual channel growth. Therefore improve our businesses, improve our services. So there's more of us to have free time, so we can spend it giving out more information, do things like this. Because as much as I like coaching people and having consultations with people, that's great. I like to sort of answer people's questions, give people value. You know, that's why we're doing these live streams every week for an hour. We will do, I believe, our own sort of live streams and things off air and collabs with other people. So this is 1 hour of many. At one point I was doing about 9 hours of lives per week. About 6 months ago, guys. I did that for about a year. You know, it takes a long time to build up, but we are actually trying to help you. So if you want the best help from us, ask good questions. Offer us a quid, you know, super chat. It motivates us a lot more than you think. Especially Lee as well, because Lee's dealing with issues at the moment with his monetization. So we're trying to get him boosted at the moment. So please leave a like on all his videos, leave a comment. Even if it's just what I put, which is usually good, full stop. That does something. It does something, you know.
Have you seen when the vegans come up and they go, oh, you're only in it for the money? You know, you're only like the channel. If I wanted to make money out of YouTube, I'd do videos of like kittens in washing machines or something like that. I mean, that's how you get the views. You don't start up a carnivore channel and make millions. It's ridiculous. But anyway, we got some questions coming up now, haven't we? We better get on to those. We've had a good whinge. What we got?
Simpson Johns has said, I've been carny for a year and I've been weightlifting since February with gains. Excellent. Problem is, the last month I've been having to decrease the weight in reps. Any thoughts why? Well, you're getting weaker. And when you're getting weaker, you're probably not eating enough protein or enough fat or dehydrated. It's coming on summer now. Maybe you're not drinking enough. Maybe you've got more stress. Maybe you're not recovering properly. How long is a piece of string? And they're the most obvious things. We would not be able to diagnose you of what's exactly going wrong, but that's what I'd look at personally. What about you guys, if we go through round the circle, perhaps?
Nothing to add to that, mate. I mean, maybe overtraining. You know, maybe cut back. I've seen so many people when I used to run a gym. You know the guy who bench presses exactly the same amount and squats exactly the same amount for like 3 years, and he doesn't change. But he's in there every day, and he's not going to complete failure. He's not pushing it hard enough, and he's doing way too many sets, and he's doing it too often. And, you know, really, really abbreviated training. If you're not doing that, then give that a go, because it's amazing once you know how to train and really take it to the limit, how little you actually need to grow. So maybe you're training too much. I don't know. More questions, I guess, than answers.
Yeah, there's different terminology that you can use. So systemic fatigue is something where you describe someone that is fatigued across the whole body, you know, in a chronic situation. Appetite's odd, you know, sleep's odd, strength's odd, joints odd, moody, dry skin, can't relax. Your body's in a high cortisol state. Now, Phil said something very interesting here, which sounds odd. You know, if you listen back to what he said, he said they're overtraining, they're doing too much in the gym, they're not training hard enough. Well, which is it? The thing is, if you train very hard, you don't need to do much at all. But because you've got a standardized way of training hard every single time, so you adapt from training every single time, you know that is your standard, that is your set point. Then all you do is scale back the frequency or scale back the volume, the amount of sets you do, the reps. But just make sure you work hard every single time. So that could be why you're not making any progress. But the fact you're decreasing says something has been wrong, as in something has caused some kind of setback. So you are here, there's been a roadblock, something's happened. So you need to address that roadblock. So I'd look at the things that I mentioned. But I also want to get definitely Stephen and Lee's thoughts on this one, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what you both said about overtraining, because that was immediately what I thought, probably overtraining. And you can change up your training as well. Great example from Phil there about the person doing the same thing, same weight, you know, constant. I would look at things like, firstly, I wouldn't worry too much about the decrease in weight and reps. I would have to think about doing the exercise slightly different, more tempo, less tempo, better range of motion. You know, I would just change it up, because without being disrespectful to anybody, most of us have terrible form when we start out. So you might actually want to just relearn everything. Just go back to basics and say, all right, I'm going to do a lighter weight. Let's use this as an example to improve my form. Let's do that. And let's do the reps slower. Let's do the negative reps slower. Just look at your training and think, right, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to just do things differently. You know, if you're doing squats, why not do split squats? Why not do Bulgarian? You know, do a different thing, a different type of exercise. But I would definitely look at how long you're in the gym for as well, because, you know, this isn't really you said it, but Kevin Keegan said it's not the hours you put in, it's what you put in the hours. All right, so you could be in the gym hours and hours and do nothing, right? You could be in and out, you know, in 20 minutes out, really work hard, push yourself to physiological fatigue and get a lot done. You can get more done in 20 minutes if you do it right than if you're in there for an hour doing it wrong, you know. So just look at how you're training. I think just do a reset. Personally change your tempo and just work on negatives a little bit more. Just change up, make sure that your strength is what you're working on. And also, we do have off days. You know, we all go through periods where we're feeling golden, and then it could be work stress, could be the heat. You know, the great thing about bodybuilding is it's data driven. You are looking at reps, you are looking at sets, you are looking at weights, all of that sort of stuff. That can also be the disadvantage. You know, reps and sets can also be your enemy, your nemesis, because if you're having a bad time, you know it straight away. But actually, if you're going to your physiological limit, you're doing the best you can. So keep that in mind. If you go in and you put in the best shift you can, that is going to be good for your body. Obviously, don't get yourself to the point where you're injured and you're trying to reach something because you did it last week, because maybe this week you can't do it for whatever reason.
Sorry, can I just be rude and jump in a little bit there? Something's just occurred to me though, but you haven't, you know, since February is not that long. To me, how I used to train anyway, just when I did what just really squats, deadlifts, bench and chins or rows, just the powerlifting kind of stuff with a little bit of extra. Now I used to go, they're very, very demanding multi-joint exercises. So, you don't grow in the gym, you grow out of the gym. You grow when you're resting and eating. And so the more time you do that after you've trained hard, it's not a matter of resting in between workouts as well, but also resting between cycles. I was a big fan of cycles. Like, you go up and you get your absolute maximum 1 week or 2 weeks, and you can't go any further. If you have got to that and then you sort of get demoralized after that, well, you shouldn't go past that. I would stop completely for a couple of weeks, and then I'd go down to like 80% or 70% of what my maximum was before, and then come up to like 80 the next week, and then 85, and then 90, 95% of the maximum weight I could do. And then you find out that you'll go through your personal best every time on each cycle. So you're sort of going like that, up and then up and then up and then up, but taking rests in between cycles. I wonder whether you've just got kind of like overtrained, not just on individual weeks or days, but on a cycle. So just take some time out, chill out, let the body catch up maybe, and do that. It's another idea.
Yeah, look at the terminology, training a deload week. I'll let Lee talk in a minute, because everyone keeps interrupting. It's driving him nuts. But sorry, Lee, I'm aware of it. But yeah, I'll say that I had a period, right, in training for a competition, about somewhere between about 3 and 7 weeks out. There's about a 3-week period. In those 3 weeks, I trained about 6 days. 6 days as a bodybuilder about to go on stage, compete, shred out my mind. 6 days, so about twice a week. It worked out being like 4 days 1 week, 3 the next, and 1 the next, whatever it was, But yeah, it just goes to show it doesn't take much, and that was actually better for me. So when I was doing my progress photos, my check-in photos every Friday morning at 10:15 a.m. on the dot, I looked at myself and I could take the rear photo, the front photo. My iliopsoas muscle on the front of my quads was more separated because I was less fatigued. My glutes were fuller, as in they held more roundness, more muscle glycogen in them, because I wasn't so burnt out from doing so many steps and so much, exercise and, training legs and stuff. And I look better for it. Sometimes you look better by taking a step back, as Phil said. So it's not so much about like, you got to know what lever to pull. So that's why you have a consultation with one of us. You work out what the best lever is to pull. It's going to be the training, the recovery, the diet, or any combination of all three. I just say to people, if you're going to change one at a time and see which lever is the most effective for you. For me, what Phil just said is probably the most effective one to change. So if I'm training 4 days 1 week, 4 days next week, and say I know every third or fourth week of the month, that 4 weeks of training just messes me up. I'm going to do 3 weeks, 3 training sessions that week. That's what I'm going to do. I might do 3 the next week again. How do I feel in the morning? You might do a grip strength test in the morning. How you wake up? How do your joints feel? When you get up, are you quite sprightly? I most sort of think, oh, I'm so tired. Okay, maybe do 2 days that week. There are no rules in bodybuilding. There's no rules at all. But unless you're competing naturally, as Stephen did. So Stephen might want to chuck up some photos in a minute if he's got them to hand. But I'm interested in quickly hearing Lee's thoughts on why he's not making gains.
You could always try some brown rice and sweet potato. No. I was thinking back in the day.
Lee,
yeah.
If I could just cut in there. No, I'm only messing. Carry on.
No. I remember back in the day when I was training, it was actually beneficial just to take a whole week off. Didn't realize how overtrained I was, and you can kind of take a couple of days off. But sometimes if you just eat like proper food, eat more food, lots of fat, lots of protein, but just take the week off and then sort of go again, that can sometimes help. I think if you've had like a rubbish night's sleep, stressful period, and you've had no sleep, I wouldn't go to the gym the next day. If you planned it and you got this session and you're looking forward to it, and you've got a couple of your mates going there and you had some really crappy sleep, I've always pulled injuries after nights like that. And so you're best off just going, I'm not going to the gym today. I'm going to continue to recover. And sometimes that stress and stuff can kind of cause inflammation, causes problems that weren't even there. You could have trained last night kind of thing, but now you've had this shoddy night's sleep and the stress has come up, and all of a sudden you go into this blue light with all these weights and then you pull an injury. So I would, yeah, absolutely. It's potentially down to overtraining, where make sure you're taking the necessary time off. When you are training, eat enough protein and fats. It's difficult to say, just fats, just protein, so you need to get up. I would say just increase, if you can, the volume of food that you're eating. What else? For me personally, I mostly benefited from push and pull, because for some reason, again, it was probably where I was overtraining. If I did back one day and then biceps another day, it's like my biceps are just screwed. If I did chest and shoulders, it's like, well, my triceps are screwed. So I utilized the push pull. That seemed to work for me in terms of being able to recover. But yeah, I think a lot of people overestimate the amount of stimulus that you actually need. You can do 1 or 2 sets close to failure. Make sure you rest and eat right and come back, and you'll probably make steady and consistent gains. Yeah,
that's top tier advice, honestly. As like a bodybuilder, and I know Coach Stephen probably agree, that's top tier advice. I wish I knew that when I was 10 years into training rather than 15 years. And Lee's not been training for 15 years, sort of thing. He's been on and off, and he does some stuff at home. What he said there was very sage, wise advice. I do recommend listening to it. Stephen, do you have that photo tanned, or is it just somewhere hidden at the moment?
Yeah, I can do that. Let me just screen share. And
Yeah.
Before I do that, I just want to say this is 40 years ago. 40 years ago. And I was told to carb up beforehand. And you'll see I got a bit...
Look how juicy those shoulders are. That's not a bad physique at all.
No, I was quite happy with that. And,
Mate, that's tremendous. That's gone in the wank bank.
Saved for future use. Why don't you get more women on the channel? Why don't you have women experts on?
Yes, Phil. Yes, Phil.
Anyway,
Phil.
That's me. Yeah, 40 years ago. Wow. Let's
I'm
remove
so
that.
pleased.
You're not too different now. Stephen's got a bit of muscle in him now, so he's not too different now, honestly.
I don't think you can't see now. So I can't believe I got a long sleeve. Yeah, hey, get rid of that. So, right, that's gone.
My best achievement is a 5-pack, because where I've got a bag, I've just got the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other one's gone. So I'm down to a 5-pack now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Right, well, we've got limited time left, so we've got 4 questions left. So perhaps we could do one question each or something. I'll just ask Phil quickly. Phil, is your festival dog friendly? I'll also put the link up to that when I find it.
Sure, why not? Yeah, it's festival friendly, kid friendly, it's dog friendly, it's musician friendly, it's everything. Yeah, absolutely. Dogs, kids, no probs.
Ostomy bag friendly?
Yeah.
I always worry about that when I'm cleaning windows and I see this new dog charge at me. I'm like, oh no, here we go.
The butchers will have their eyes on it and start thinking, I could use that tube for something. Use it for putting minced meat and sausages through. Yeah, if you guys want to pick a question, we'll do one question each.
I'll do the
there's
cow.
3 questions, but yeah, which one do you want to do?
I'll do the goat milk, sheep milk, if you want to do that.
Yeah. Go on.
But also, I'm happy for other people to interrupt, because that seems to be the thing. Please tell me the answer to this. I have to give up dairy as I'm not losing weight on Carnivore. Does this include goat and sheep milk? Well, you can try it, because it's slightly different protein, A2. So that's the first thing. There's no hard and fast rules, because we're all very individual. Now, why does dairy stall people? There's two big reasons. I'll actually mention the one that doesn't get mentioned enough, and that's odd chain fatty acids. So goat and sheep milk actually have more odd chain fatty acids than cow's milk. So that's carbon 15, carbon 17. And why that's important is because when you get lysis, anything that's got lysis on the end just means it's being cut. So those odd chain fatty acids, they get cut into even chains, but you end up with a 3-carbon fragment, and that the body loves. It takes it to the liver and it makes that into glucose. So That's a good thing if you're a baby, because it helps growth. So it makes total sense. In fact, I think it's something like human milk has about 0.4% of chain fatty acids, whereas goats and cows, it's something like 14%. So if you look at how goats grow and sheep grow, they grow very quickly. That's why. But compared to a baby, for instance, after 9 months in your arms, after 9 months in your belly, it doesn't expand to the size of a goat. So odd chain fatty acids could be a problem, could be problematic. The other thing is, and I know the jury's out on this, is overconsumption as well. And yes, the carbs and fat eliciting the Randall cycle is one of those things, but also carbs and fat are quite nice. And got casomorphine, so people think, oh yeah, this is going to have too much of this, and that's the operative word, too much. If you can moderate with that mixture, well, more power to your elbow. But most people with dairy, and certainly people that ask about dairy, normally have a problem with it because they're eating too much of it. So the combination of possibly eliciting the Randall cycle, the odd chain fatty acids, and the fact that it's quite nice and you might eat too much of it means that you might have to dump it to improve your body composition. But in saying that, try to sheep milk before you listen to me about dumping it. Just take 3 or 4 weeks trying that and seeing if that is better than cow's milk.
Brilliant. This one, I don't know if Phil or Lee want to tackle this one. This is more your realm, probably.
I don't know whether you would get better. I can understand the thinking. It would be perhaps like fixing your gut and then trying dairy again, maybe, but I would say most likely not. I think it's an enzyme problem, an enzymatic problem. I know that Tammy takes enzymes that seem to work great for her, but I don't believe it works like that. To be honest with you, I don't know. So I'm not going to say definitively anything. But yeah, my impression is that, for example, if you're eating lamb, because that's all you can tolerate, I don't think after, say, 6 months to a year that then you can just start eating non-aged beef. I think you've got to pretty much stick to non-aged and lamb and things like that. Salt, I don't know if you guys have seen the Adam from Carnivore today. He actually cut salt out, and that sort of helped because he also struggles with histamines. I think for some people, smoke and smoked foods, things like that, but I don't think it works like that.
I know Phil knows about this. I'm waiting for him to say it.
Not massively, actually, because I always like things that I've seen from personal experience, but I've never had histamine intolerance. So, but I have seen some people have trouble with it carrying on, and I've seen some people have it clear up. And, definitely in the short term, you want to be having fresh meat and not having bone broth and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel that it does quite often get better. But Stephen's put something up there with a DAO supplement for histamines. That sounds like an idea. I don't know. Stephen, you want to say a bit about that? Because I think it generally does clear up on its own, but there might be ways to hurry it up. So that's something I don't know. Stephen, tell us about it.
DAO, diamine oxidase, is the enzyme the body produces naturally to clear up histamine. So with all things that we consume, there's stuff that breaks it down, and then there's stuff that degrades it. And you can try this supplementation. You can get it from kidney as well, but if you get it as a supplement, and actually I would imagine Jonathan knows more about this because of his health food experience. But if you're having histamine problems, there's ways to approach it. Firstly, don't eat it. Secondly, try and get your body to deal with it better, metabolize it better. So like slower eating, more mechanical eating, leave it in your mouth longer for the digestive, the saliva to work, and then also your digestive enzymes and everything. But then the clear up operation of histamines, because anything that dies produces histamines. So if your DAO is low, then supplementing can help with the clear up operation. So it's just sort of like a 3-pronged attack, really. The easiest thing is to avoid histamines in the first place. It's a bit like diabetes. Avoid glucose. If you don't want your blood glucose to go up, if you don't want histamines to hit you, try and avoid anything that's got histamines. It's like aged meats, aged cheeses, those sort of things.
Stephen, while you're on there, this little question here from Polish Mike, you should deal with that because I think this is a really good testament to the carnivore diet. Yeah. So you're in your 40s then, Stephen?
I'm 60.
There you go. Nice one.
I didn't see the question actually, but how could you be so tall 40 years ago if you're in your 40s? I'm right. I got it. Polish Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 60.
I'm approaching 40. How about that?
I'm very much on board with what Stephen, Phil, and Lee said in this sort of question. Copper seems to be helpful. If you get more copper in your diet, like Stephen said, kidney, that's going to be effective for getting more copper through your diet. That seems to be effective in clearing histamine. There's some sort of biological mechanism I can't remember. I don't remember these sort of things because I don't come across it very often. What I do come across is people will have, for example, leaky gut. And as I always say, the gut heals itself over a period of about 3 weeks, roughly. That's what paleomedicine have also found. 9 times out of 10, they say about 3 weeks. Strict fatty meat carnivore diet does the job. That's what their template is. That's what science is as well. 3 weeks to rejuvenate the gut enteric system. I think if you heal leaky gut, you put your body in the best position to tolerate different foods. Now, there's obviously some foods which are higher in histamine than others. So these are going to be typical, like the guy said, aged foods, canned food, processed food. What people may find, though, is if they deviate from their diet rarely, i.e. every 4 weeks, they'll actually lose the tolerance to these foods. So people like me that like different foods, I enjoy different food. I like salmon, guys, like mackerel, like sardines and eggs and all sorts. I'll keep it in my diet if I'm even doing some sort of protocol. I'm doing just meat at the moment. So just meat. I'll actually keep these things in, even if it's 2 eggs on a Friday or Saturday morning or something like that. Just so my body knows and recognizes what it is. And then people say, oh, no, but it's an animal food. Your body will always recognize what it is. Well, obviously not, when 1% of the population is allergic to eggs. Around 20% of the population is tolerant. Is it allergic or tolerant? Is intolerant to dairy. Then there's people with an intolerance to fish. Then you end up just eating beef and lamb for the most part. But the thing is, the idea isn't to just eat beef and lamb. I think I always put people on a diet which is the outside in, the refine. Then if I've refined it, then I look at maybe supplements a little bit more. But you have to work out with what individual person is trying to achieve. So this person, by sounds of it, Zinc 316, does histamine intolerance to certain meats get better after line diet for a while. Yeah, but I'd keep it in every 3 weeks. So if you love chicken drumsticks on the barbecue every now and then, summertime, well, have them every 3 weeks. Don't just not have them. If your reaction is that bad, obviously you never have them. But for yourself, after so long of being a carnivore, you just know. So me, Phil, Lee, and Stephen, we all have very different diets. I'm very beef and fish heavy, beef, fish, and dairy heavy. The other guys, not so much. Stephen's probably a bit more close to me in terms of the variation in diet. But we all just worked it out just through a few years of doing it. Phil's the veteran among us, about 10 years nearly. And then Stephen's been low carb, keto, and carnivore for probably forever. Lee's much newer than, we've also got me as well, 4.5 years in. So we've worked out what we do for our diet. So a lot of this sort of stuff is just a bit of extrapolation. There isn't really hard science on histamine intolerance other than the DAO enzyme, copper, and just eating the foods that you deal with best. That's basically it. And some people just don't tolerate foods. And I've met people that have gone raw carnivore for about 6 months and they can't eat anything else. And they're miserable. They hate it. They absolutely hate it. And they're in worse state of health now because of it. Not because there's anything wrong with raw beef, but because anytime they want to cook something, they can't cook it because their body's not used to it. Their body's not used to clearing these different charred pieces of meat and things. Our body just adapts over time. And the thing is, people want to make all these drastic changes and do these like sardine fasts for a month and this, that. You don't need to do it. It's a load of bullshit. It's all a load of bullshit. These things are effective if it gets you on the ball of doing something. But people refine for the sake of refining when there's nothing needed to refine. And then we've got a question as well, which is the next question, which leads into this actually, which is best fat to protein ratio for body composition. So I'm pretty much certain this person's probably Googled this or chat GTP'd it or YouTubed it or watched different channels, people that do body composition stuff on the carnivore diet. And he's looked at 60-40, 70-30, you know, 80-20. Oh, but then I'm going to watch all the steak and butter girls videos on 80-20. Oh, then I'm going to watch, I don't know, Carnivore Muscle, who talks more, you know, leaner, and Sean Baker that talks leaner. Look at the people in this space that have achieved the most success or the most similar outcome to what you want to achieve, and how have they done it? Most people that get leaner eat more protein and eat less fat. That is the hard truth. That is what bodybuilders have been doing for 40 plus years. They're eating steak and eggs for a long time with lots of dairy and cream and whey powder and I think it said eggs as well. They're eating plenty of protein and fat, yeah, but they weren't eating the fattiest ribeye steaks because they weren't rich. These bodybuilders were poor. They were doing gay for pay, for fuck's sake. You know, they were they didn't have enough money to buy expensive cuts of meat. They're eating lean, guys, and that's how they got shredded. Loads of activity, loads of sunlight, being outside all the time and getting lean, and that's the hard truth. I've outside of people that have had a satiety issue where they've needed more fat to feel satiated, therefore stick on the diet every single day, those people get results because they stay on the diet. Now, anyone who tries to flip something, go, you know, I'm going to do 90% fat and 10% protein by caloric value, those people get absolutely messed up and they never, ever, ever reach their goals because they can't stick with it. They can't stick with it for long at all. So yeah, that's been my take on the ratios, but I'd forget ratios altogether. You have an individual protein amount, an individual fat amount, and there's some sort of cog in the middle way, sort of fine tune each one. Go by your stool frequency, your stool movements, you know, things like that. Lee will be able to provide you more insight on that sort of topic. Look at how you feel. Is your skin dry? Can you perform in the gym? How's your sexual function? Maybe you need more fat in your diet, you know, more fats, more vitamins, more cholesterol. I would look away completely from ratios. Forget about ratios. And I made a video about 6 months ago saying they've effed up the carnivore diet, basically, something like that. Basically, because people want to oversimplify things with one single number or calculator. And I know a lot of the people in the space will make useful tools and resources. I know Maria Emmerich. I actually am quite a fan of her sort of stuff, her body composition. So I think it's solid. I like what she says for the most part. But her protein calculator, whatever it is, that food intake calculator, it's way off. It puts me about a third of what I'm meant to eat, what I do eat right now. So you don't go by these numbers. Don't go by these calculators. Don't go by these odd percentages. Go by what your body is telling you to have. And you'll find it's never, oh, it's telling me to just eat sardines for a month. It's never going to tell you that, guys. It's just never going to tell you that. As nutritious as they are, it won't tell you that. There's been very few societies in history where they've just eaten sardines. So yeah, but what do you guys think about all this sort of stuff, ratios? And I know obviously you use it therapeutically in PKD, Phil, but outside of that, in this kind of situation where a guy's over fat, he wants to get in better shape.
Well, you know, so people are saying here, well, Sketch by Stu is saying here in the chat about, you know, the research that paleomedicina does is king. I haven't been able to make it work. Stomach churning, awake at night, that kind of thing. Yeah, I understand this, and I don't think you have to do it for really that long as you think, because like Jonathan said, you know, you can fix the gut in 3 weeks, but then the symptoms quite often don't stop. So you can then tail off the fat. Your body will tell you after a while, you know, that what you want to eat. I had a day today where I wanted loads of fat, you know, tons of fat, but it's not like that every day. And also this ties into the body composition thing. Unless you're doing bodybuilding and need to be ripped, do you really need to, you know, are you saying you want to be, you know, you're 25% fat, you want to be 5% fat or something? I don't know. I don't really worry. You know, it depends. Sometimes I can see my abs, sometimes I can't, and I don't really think about it. At the moment, I can't, and I feel great, better than the last time I could see my abs. So, you know, I've always got a flat stomach, but it doesn't go that far. But I just think if you go with what you feel, if you're not in competition or something, because when bodybuilders are exceedingly ripped, they don't usually feel very good. So, you know, if you want to just go for health, you know, and go for what your body says. If you want a period on paleo medicina, you know, the PKD thing, and then the gut's healed, and then if the gut's healed, then go with your own fat levels. I've sat next to Zofia, you know, while Sean Baker's been talking, and we've been chatting about it. And I said, what do you reckon about that? You know, he doesn't eat enormous amounts of fat. That's fine for him. Absolutely fine. You know, but people who are healing need to do that. It's a totally different thing. But you don't need to push it for years and years and years. You don't need to stay on PKD for years and years and years. You could, with the fat levels anyway. That's not to say you can go back to pizza and stuff. I mean, I just have days where I know how much fat I want, and other days I don't want a load of fat. And just wait until your tastes get a little more subtle, and listen to your own body rather than other people. You know.
Yeah, Lee, quickly, what's your take before I wrap this up?
On which one? Sorry, I mean, I have much to add anyway.
The protein ratios.
Yeah, I wouldn't I wouldn't count or track or anything like that. I would perhaps just tailor it slowly. You know, figure it out. Just back off of the fat while you increase protein, and judge it. You know what I mean? We're all different, so it's an individualistic thing, really.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
How long's a piece of string?
Exactly, yeah, it's not just a straight up answer.
I think most people by about the 6 month mark in of doing carnivore diet, you should be trending towards your goals. To be honest, I think most people should be doing something at least, because by that point you've gone off the binge eating for the most part, the on and off. But yeah, I'm not going to go anymore. We've got to go. Apologies for anyone whose questions have been asked that we haven't yet asked already. There was a super chat in the chat from Ben, so I appreciate that one. Please ask the question again next week, and I'll be able to answer it there, either on my channel or in here. The question was, could a carnivore diet change blood viscosity? I'm going to wrap this up now, so you can find us all on our own respective channels: Carnivore Muscle, Phil Escott, and Kent Carnivore. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you all next week.